episode 2000. So in this episode, what I want to do is go over my 10 most memorable Uber trips, some honorable mentions, and I want to see if any of these trips resonate with you in your experience, whether you've been a passenger or a driver. There's some, really powerful stories in here, some funny ones. Well, let's just jump into it. Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the Daily Drive. All right, so I've got my podcast, 10 most memorable trips listed right over here. And these are 3 honorable mentions. Let me first tell you how I came up with this list, because I've done 13 some odd thousand rides. I've been doing this 5.5 years. I have a lot of trips. And I'll tell you something too, before I even jump into it. It's really weird. I remember almost every single passenger and every single story. I can't find my keys half the time. Thank God my phone operates the Tesla. Birthdays, I forget. Memorable, anything. I'm horrible at that memory. Yet somehow, some way, I remember every single Uber trip. So when I get a repeat passenger, it's weird. It's like we just pick up right where we left off. It's so odd. Now I'm going to go through this list. I'll put it right over here. This list of my, 10 most memorable trips. And the way I came up with this list is I just went for a walk. I went for a walk and I thought, what are the 10 trips that stand out to me the most? And so let's just dive into it. So let's jump into these 3 honorable mentions. Number 1 is I got a $100 cash tip. It was my first really big tip. It was a trucker. It was right around Christmas during COVID year. It was him and his son. They were finally getting out and about, and they were adventuring on a road trip. And I took them, 5 blocks, 3 blocks. It was a 5-minute trip. And he just handed me a $100 bill and said, "Merry Christmas." Pretty cool. Honorable mention number 2 is kind of a hodgepodge of trips, but I've met some really amazing people that I've become friends with. So I'll leave their names off here just because, I didn't ask their permission to mention their names. But an architecture professor, a family from Jordan that were going to grad school. I've met a lot of people who've become friends. We've exchanged numbers, and I don't give them rides. I'm not doing it for private rides. I'm just doing it because I really like to connect with my passengers. So there's that as an honorable mention. And then probably my grossest ride is an honorable mention. I had picked up this old guy, probably in his 70s. He was super drunk. It was 10 a.m. And he had to lay down across the back of my seat. And I was stuck in traffic. And I remember turning around to look at him like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he went and just burped right in my face. It was the most rancid smell of sausages and beer. And God, it's gross. So those are my honorable mentions. So number 10, obviously, is my very first ride. That's the most memorable trip, on this list, in the sense that I was driving down the highway. And I remember I was like, let me see how this Uber app works. It was like 7 o'clock on a Friday night. And I was in the left lane doing it like 65 and a 55, just kind of speeding down the highway, I thought. And, I turned the app on, and of course, boom, a trip comes in. And I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. And so I went ahead and hit accept. And as soon as I hit accept, it said exit highway in 500 feet. There was no way I was going to get across the highway, 3 or 4 lanes of traffic to exit. It was over there on 690. If you're here in Syracuse, you know what I'm talking about. It was 3 college students, Asian female college students. They were from Syracuse University. They were at the Asian market getting some food, and which means I had to go down to the very next exit, which was like a mile or 2 down the road. And I remember the girls sort of texting me, my passenger. She's like, "Where are you going? Are you forgetting us?" They were really nice. I told them it was my first Uber ride. I didn't have a phone holder, so I'm trying to drive like this it was a mess, total mess. My number 10 on this list. Let's jump to number 9. Okay, so my first Uber trip was right before COVID hit. It was February 21st of 2020. So COVID hit, and I don't know about you, but I didn't take it that serious at first. There was like these boats these cruise ships, right, that where people were sick. It looked like a nightmare in China, but I wasn't really sure how to feel about it. And this trip made it hit home. It was the night the NBA shut down. I picked up this passenger. He was going to the hospital to be with his wife. She had just given birth, and he was watching his other child at home, blah, 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 whatever. But he was a immune researcher, something like that, at Syracuse University and Upstate Hospital or something like that. He did scientific research on diseases, and he really laid into me. And he was like, "No, this disease is going to infect every human on the planet, and you can get really sick. And a lot of people are going to die." And because he was immune doctor, disease researcher, I was like, "Oh, this sounds really scary." I was kind of freaked out a little bit. But I must not have shown it in my face. And this is what he said to me. He's like, "You don't know, do you?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "Are you not listening to the news?" And I was like, "No, I'm just listening to some jazz music." And he goes, "The NBA, the National Basketball Association, it shut down. They canceled all their games indefinitely." And that's when it hit home for me. Like, what? It was it didn't make any sense to me. I couldn't put two and two together. And what was really crazy about that particular night was like I think two or three rides later, I started to get people like going to the grocery store. I took two people to the grocery store. One guy was wearing like a full like face shield and a mask, and he had rubber gloves on, like dishwashing gloves. And I remember asking my wife, I was like, "Should I go to the grocery store on the way home?" And she's like, "Yeah, get some milk." And I remember going into the grocery store and like it being like an apocalypse. Like there was there was stuff in the aisles, and this is Wegmans. Wegmans is like one of the nicest grocery stores around. And I remember thinking like, yeah, this is super weird. And so that guy, my passenger, and I always remember that my passengers are just have so much information if you just listen. And yeah, so that's number nine. Okay, let's get into number eight. I don't have too many celebrities. I'm in Syracuse, New York, so it is what it is. But I had I won't give you a celebrity's name just because again they didn't give me permission. But I had the agent of a celebrity, and this person ordered an Uber from Ithaca, New York, all the way to New York City. It was early in the morning, and they had to catch one of three flights. They were going to go to either JFK, Newark, or LaGuardia. And they were talking to that celebrity on the phone a lot of the trip, trying to coordinate which airport they're going to fly out of. And it was a really good trip. But the thing that stuck out to me was this. It was by far my biggest tip. She was so nice, so nice. And she tipped me twice in the app for like I don't know, $60. And then she gave me like $80 in cash. It was like a $260. I can't remember how much of a tip it was. It was so big. And she was just super nice about it. And the fare paid really well because she ordered a comfort ride. And yeah. And what makes me think about that a lot is that tip meant everything to me. Yeah, because it was big. I would have been happy with a $50 tip, to be honest with you. It wasn't really just the size of the tip. Tips matter. It just communicates so much. And she started telling me about this celebrity. So, name dropping. And then she was on the phone with that celebrity. And the celebrity even said hi to me on the phone and stuff like that. So, they know that if they were to do something bad, like let's say she was really rude to me or whatever, or I didn't get a tip, I could just go on social media and kind of dog them out. But I think tips just matter. It's part of culture. And it really stood out to me. So, there you go. That's trip number 8. Let's go to number 7 here. Now, this trip was crazy. I could not believe what went down. I picked up a guy in a hotel, and he was going to go about an hour away. And I'll leave the cities and the hotel out of it just in case he finds me, because I don't want this guy to find me. But he had gotten pulled over by the police. They found some drugs in his vehicle, so they impounded him in his car. They put him in jail. For like 6, 8, 10 hours, something like that. But he hates women. And he was like really psycho about it and just saying the craziest thing. So for an hour on the highway, on the interstate, this guy is yelling crazy things and he's like shaking the front seat. And I didn't know that, but now I had a couple of options. Now this guy was really in shape. He was super in shape. It was like a MMA boxy kind of guy. And he was like, I hate women. And I guess a cop had pulled him over, was a female. And so he was just using vulgar language and it was just gross. But so my options were to like, I could, hit the safety button on the Uber app, like help, help, call 911 or something like that. But then I was thinking like, if the cops show up and he already hates the cops, if a female cop shows up, I could be part of a hostage situation. I didn't want to be part of that. And then I was thinking like, well, I could just pull off to the highway and get out of the car. But then if I did that, he'd just chase me down. Where am I going to go? I'm on the highway. So my third option was just kind of nod along the whole way. I was like, yeah, yeah. He said something like, come on, Putin, drop the bomb. He's ready. He was ready for a nuclear war because he thought he'd be a survivalist. That was by far my scariest trip. And I'll never forget that trip. Okay, trip number 6. If you're an Uber driver, we've all had this happen to us. Vomit. But this vomit was totally different. So I had just bought my new Toyota Prius, and it was January of 2022, I think, maybe 2023. I can't remember. January 2022. So I bought my new Toyota Prius. I've had it for about 2 weeks. It was about 2 a.m. on a January nighttime, Saturday night, I guess Sunday morning. And the bar scene down there in Syracuse was just packed. There was wall-to-wall students, and everybody was kind of just partying, and it was snowing sideways. It was like a blizzard. And it was like -10. It was super bad weather. And I needed like 1 or 2 more rides to get like my 50 trip bonus to then get like $100 bonus or something like that. And so this drunk girl comes walking up to my car, and I know she's my Uber passenger, and we confirm. And her friends ask her, are you going to be okay? Now, if your friends have to check with you if you're going to be okay, you're not okay. But, I just desperately needed this ride. My 12-hour clock was running out. I needed to get these trips done. So I get her in the back seat. She sits right behind me, actually. And we start driving to the Syracuse campus. Now, Syracuse is only 10 minutes away. I mean, it's not that far from downtown Syracuse to the Syracuse University campus. And she wasn't very talkative. And just a quick side note, one of the reasons why I like talking to passengers, especially late at night, is because I think it's the silent ones that are really sick. They're locked in. They're focused on not throwing up. And, just be honest, they've been in a bar, it's been really loud, and now the car's kind of moving around, they're sloshing around. So we go about a block, and I can hear the window roll down. And I'm like, wait, what are you doing? She goes, I'm not feeling really good. And so I pull over, and I remember opening the car door, and she kind of just leans out and holds onto the window on this side and the car door on the side, and she lays down across the seat, and she starts vomiting right in the street. I'm just standing there shivering on the side of the road, watching her just empty her night's fun right there into the street. And then I remember her looking up at me with this sad face with like vomit on her face and like her hair, across her mouth. And she starts crying, and they all cry. I don't know, I'm a nutritionist student. This is not what I normally do. And no judgment. At least she didn't vomit in my car. I don't care. I give her a towel. She wipes her face. She tries to hand me the towel back. And I'm like, no, just keep it. I don't want your towel. We only have to go like 4 more blocks, right? So I get in the car, start driving. I hear the window roll down again, but this time I can't pull over quick enough. And she leans her head out the window, and she starts yakking out the window. But remember, it's -10. I have frozen vomit all the way down the side of my car. And at 2 a.m., there's literally nothing I can do. There's no hose that's working. There's no car wash that's open. Bottles of water are just going to freeze onto the side of my car. There's nothing I can do. And I remember not getting that bonus that night. That's what I remember. And I remember her telling me, and this is where I came up with the name for this channel, by the way, I believe. She said, I'll tip you in the app. Now she did tip me, but I started thinking about that more and more. People start promising tips, and that's why I named the channel "Tip You in the App." Frozen vomit on the side of my car. There you go. Now, number five, this trip wasn't a trip. It was a series of like three or four trips that I did with this passenger. It was a really sad story. I remember the first time I picked her up. She's probably in her early 40s. I picked her up in an apartment complex and I was taking her to the methadone clinic in the morning. And what stood out to me was the way she wobbled out to the car. And she had like a red solo cup and she had a coffee filter in it with coffee grounds, I remember. And then she spilled it in the floor of my car, and I had rubber mats, so it didn't spill everywhere. It was okay. But she just told me this horrible story about her addiction, losing her children to her father or her husband, and she's living with this guy, drug dealer, and it was just none of it was good, and it made me think about all the people that we take and the problems and the challenges that we all have. No judgment on her. And she probably deserves it. She's probably done some horrible things, but that's not for me to do and not for me to decide. And she was very nice, but she was going through something. And I took her multiple times. I picked her up at like different clinics. Picked her up at like I don't know, the welfare office. I don't know what it's called, but something like that. And each time her story had progressed worse. I never saw her again. I have no idea where she's at today. I don't even know her name. And yeah, so we touch so many lives throughout the day as Uber drivers, just being out in our city, people in need and people hurting. And there's never a completion to the story. That's the thing that kind of stuck with me about her, is that she laid these heavy burdens on me and I felt it and I was saddened by it. And you want to hope that there's some good that might come out of it. I don't know. I don't know. But I think about her often. I really do. I think about that often. Okay, number four, not so doom and gloom here. Number four trip was it was during COVID, the summer of COVID, right before summer, I guess. It was high school graduation season. And it was a Sunday. I skipped church to go Uber drive. And I remember it was a weird trip. It was like from like the downtown area to I thought was going to be to like, I couldn't tell where it was going, I guess. Remember, this is before we had upfront fares, so I didn't know where I was going. But it was a comfort ride. And I was like, okay, let's see what's going on. And when I get there, it was a family. It was a mother, a father, a daughter, and a son. And the son was graduating high school. But they have a one-lane driveway, and the car in the back, it was like a minivan, couldn't start. And the father had been in the USA for a little while, but I think that the family had just immigrated from, I want to say Jordan. I don't remember now, but they were going to the high school graduation. But when we got to the graduation, I was going to drop them off. I was like, there was a line of cars, and then you could see all the signs. It was like COVID safe drive-through graduation. Basically, every student would go through with their family in a car, get out, take pictures, get their diploma, whatever, then get back in the car. I don't know how any of that's COVID safe, whatever. But that's what we were doing back in COVID days, remember? So it was a COVID safe graduation. And I remember driving through it, and they were like, well, can we just have you, can we have you wait? And they were trying to figure out a way to go through the drive-through graduation because they didn't have a car. And so I just did it. I drove through it with them. I just said, let's do it. Let's go through it. And I remember I was the camera guy. So I remember driving, 1 miles an hour, taking pictures of the whole family. When the son got up on stage, I showed them how to use the camera and zoom in and took a couple of photos. I made a video for them because I'm a video guy. And yeah, I remember that. So crazy. And yes, drive through graduation. So then after the graduation was over, we went home, we took more pictures, and I was part of some of those pictures. It was so fun and weird. And it's just like the adventure of Uber driving. You just never know what's going to happen. You turn the app on and you don't know what's going to go down. Sometimes it's crazy college kids throwing up in your car. Sometimes it's a high school graduation. And I'm in love with the adventure. I love like not knowing how my day is going to go. That was really fun. Okay, the final three are just world class stories for me, memories. So let me jump into it. Number three here. This was a panic moment too. This one happened pretty recently, about 3 months ago, maybe more. I don't remember. If you're familiar with Syracuse, there's Ithaca and Binghamton, Elmira. There's these small airports outside of Syracuse where people try to catch flights, but then the flights get canceled, and then the people they're panicking trying to get a flight out of Syracuse, or they drive to New York City or whatever else it is. So this woman, she had been ordering Ubers from Ithaca to Syracuse, but I didn't want to leave Ithaca. It was like graduation weekend or something like that. I was like, I don't want to go all the way to Syracuse. I was going to make a lot of money that night, but her ride came through like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. Somebody's in need. I don't know who it is, but somebody's in need, and I knew what was going down. I knew that a flight had been canceled. I knew this person needed to get to Syracuse. So when I show up, she'd been waiting an hour for a ride, an hour. And she tried Lyft because that was where the voucher was for. Then she tried Uber and got me. And she's like, hey, I've got an hour and 30 minutes until my flight departs. And it takes like an hour and 7 minutes to get all the way to Syracuse. Some sort of crazy number like that. And we hit it off. We hit it off great. She was so nice, just a fun person. We had a great conversation. Animal rights advocate. She's a vegan, just phenomenal person. And as we're driving up to Syracuse, there was a wreck on the interstate. It was wall to wall bumper traffic. And I remember just the fear in that she's going to miss this next flight, because she had a thing to get to on the West Coast. If she missed this one flight, there was like no other option. She's going to stay the night in Syracuse and miss the event on the West Coast. It was like a family reunion or something like that. And so, I'm invested now. I'm invested in her catching this flight, but we're stuck in traffic. Now there's a couple of things that happen here. Number one is I said, call the airport, let them know you're coming, call the airline, tell them where you are, and see if there's other options. Maybe Rochester, which is an hour away, or Buffalo, which is 3 hours away. Maybe they have flights that I can take you to. And she was like, okay, she was trying to figure it all out. And then there was like a part where we can stay on the highway, or we can get off and try to drive through the city of Syracuse. And I was like, I think we can get through the city of Syracuse, but I would recommend we stay on the highway. And we did. She said, well, your choice. And so we stayed on the highway. And I remember watching the clock going like, okay, we're going to arrive at 5:05. Now we're going to arrive at 5:10. Now we're going to arrive at 5:30. And it's like, we're going to arrive at the airport right when our flight departs. Some sort of crazy thing. And man, I just felt so sick, and she was sick, and we were both worried. And we found a flight in Rochester. Well, she found a flight in Rochester. And I was like, hey, listen, I'll drop you off at the airport. You go catch the flight. If you can't catch that flight, I will take you as a friend, no charge, to Rochester. We'll catch that flight. If you catch the flight, just text me and let me know. So I drop her off at the airport. It was like 10, 15 minutes before her flight departs, like door shut. Now you could still get through the Syracuse airport in that time. So it was going to be super close. Right. And, so I wait there at the airport. In fact, I go across the street. There's a car wash there, the Delta Sonic. So I go across to the car wash, and I'm just waiting at the car wash, and I get my car washed. Still no text from her. Then I'm like, well, what do I do? I waited for like 45 minutes, and she finally texted me. She's like, we're about to take off. Thank you so much. But I remember those 45 minutes of just waiting, dreading, like, am I going to Rochester tonight? Did she catch her flight? Not really knowing. And that was the first time, maybe not the first time, but I got real closure with one of the stories with my passenger, which is not true because I just told you the graduation one. But I just remember feeling like that panned out the way, or that happened the way I thought it would happen. That was good. That was a good news story. It was great. And I love that story. That always will stick with me. Okay, the last two stories. Number two. This one was probably my hardest ride, the most difficult ride. I got to the hospital, and a woman comes down, Spanish. I think she was Puerto Rican, actually. She gets in the car. She speaks a little bit of English, but she had the sticker, and she had a wristband, and you don't you want to have greetings with people, but you want to keep kind of like give them space if something's going on, and you could tell she'd been crying, something was going on, and I asked her if she's okay, if she's okay, and she said that she wasn't okay. She had just given birth about 4 months earlier, and there was something wrong with her son's bowels, his intestines or something like that. He wasn't digesting food or something like that, and so her son was kind of in the ICU, I believe. They're at the no the NICU, I think they call it, or something like that, right? And she was just going on and on about the challenges of dealing with the insurance company, and she wanted to take her child to Boston, I believe, but the doctors here wouldn't release the the child to her. And so, the insurance company said no. And so the doctor said no. And she's like, but the best place for this is in Boston. And she was trying to take control of the situation, but nobody would let her take control. The father, you know, just a real scumbag, showed up when he gave birth, but then disappeared stopped being around. And this woman was really stuck up in Syracuse all alone, you know, and she just laid it all on me. And we only had a 10-15 minute ride. But the thing that stuck with me the most, and I don't know what happened with her son, so I wish I had closure for you there, but I don't know. She said, thank you. Thank you for listening. You, me, I was the first person to actually listen to her. And that's amazing to me, because I'm a horrible listener. According to everybody else on the planet that's ever met with me, they'll say, Levi, you need to do a better job as a listener. I'm talking to you and you'll see my eyes. I wander a lot. I think about things. But when I'm an Uber driver, like I become a super good listener. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I'm looking at the road. I'm not looking at the passenger, so I don't have to make eye contact. And I have to wait for them to stop talking. So sometimes they keep going. And it's only when there's like a gap that I know it's my turn, and I quickly just ask another question, or I do a quick response. I try not to like make the car ride about me. And so I've gotten that feedback time and time and time again. And it was her ride that made me think about that. And people ask me why I like to Uber drive, because I think it's the best part of me. I really do. I wish I could be like an Uber driver throughout all of my life. And I try to be, but I'm my best Levi when I'm driving that car, at least from a communication standpoint. Okay. So the number one ride, the ride that gave me the courage to do this, do everything, and just, all the cliches, think outside the box, be my own guy or whatever. I picked up a college student. He was like a junior or a sophomore, young guy. And really just changed my perspective. What are you studying? And he's like, I'm studying philosophy. And normally if you're studying philosophy, maybe you're going into law. And I said, so you want to go into law? And he said, no. And I said, well, what do you want to do? And he says, I don't know. I just want to study philosophy. And I was like, so do you want to get your PhD in it? No. He goes, I just want to study it. I want to learn more as much as I possibly can. I'm enjoying it this time in my life right now, today. That's what I want to do. No future plans, and it's crazy, right? Because we've trained our children in our society that you have to go to college to get a job. But college and school is about learning. And if you go to school with that intent to learn, you're really going to learn, because these institutions, whether we like them or not, whatever it might be, they are places you can really learn, meeting with amazing people, your fellow students, the professors, the access to materials, whatever it might be. It's an amazing place to sincerely just learn. And that's what he wanted to do. And that blew my mind. It's just have such wisdom as a 20-something year old, a 19-year-old, whatever he was, to just say, you know what, today's today, and I want to learn, and this is interesting to me. And I thought that's the reason why you should go to college. That's the best reason to go to college, right there. Not to get a job, not to do anything, just to learn the subject that you're interested in. And yeah, and I thought, you know what, he's living for today. It doesn't mean you shouldn't save money and you should go crazy or whatever else it is. It's just like today's today. So do what you want to do today. Do what you got to do, because if you're like me, I've got a family, I got to feed, I got to do a lot of things. But I don't let society dictate to me what I should be doing. I want to do what I want to do. And it's liberating. We live in an amazing time. We try to like make it sound like it's horrible, from wars and whatever else. Looming AI, I always think about that. There's a lot of things that make me feel negative. COVID. You can turn on the news and get really negative. But I think if you just start doing what you want to do and living for today, like, your life can be really amazing. Again, that doesn't mean you should shirk responsibility or anything like that. But don't. The Bible talks about this. It's kind of like the birds. Do they worry about where their next meal is going to come from? No, God will provide, and God will provide. My obligation is to work hard, and I do, and be a good witness and care for the people that are around me. And I try my best. I'm not always the best, but I try. But today, people ask me why I'm an Uber driver. It's because of those stories, those 10 stories plus honorable mentions. That's why I like to Uber drive. That's why, by the way, that's why I don't like doing DoorDash or Uber Eats or Amazon Flex, because I need those stories. Those stories are like my battery. As my Tesla battery drains, as I'm out there doing Uber all day, my personal battery just gets filled. I come home energized by just the people that I meet and the stories, and you, the people that are watching this channel. If you've stayed to this part of the channel, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for letting me share those stories. I really do. I hope some of those stories resonate with you. So this is episode number 2000. Remember, I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy. And I want you to know that I am cheering for you. Bye.